Hi there. Welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. In this podcast, I interview successful business leaders and industry experts to help you grow your business. In this episode, my guest is author, speaker, founder, and a filmmaker. Greg has inspired millions of people to take personal responsibility to step into potential of the greatness. He has authored, co-authored, or contributed to over 150 books, including the Think and Grow Rich series, authorized by Napoleon Hill Foundation. He's the founder of Secret Knock, an exclusive and innovative event that connects positive and like-minded individuals with influential and successful leaders from various fields and industries. He's also a creator of Credible Source, a platform that helps experts and authorities reach and engage with their target audience and media opportunities. He's also been a keynote speaker at prestigious events and venues such as Pentagon, United Nations, Harvard, and Forbes 400. He also produced and directed multiple movies such as Wishman, based on a true story of a founder of a Make-A-Wish Foundation. He also received multiple awards and honors, including a star of the Vegas Strip Walk of the Fame and recognition from White House for his mentorship and community involvement. And more importantly, Greg is a proud father of 12 years old superstar Colt. Now, this was very impromptu discussion without any pre-planning or communication. It was a unique experience for me, but what I learned from this experience was that Greg has a very unique way of simplifying and communicating very complex business and personal challenges. Greg talks about his own struggle with dyslexia and many other personal challenges, and beside these challenges, he was still able to achieve all his goals, whether it's publishing books or magazines or producing films. So I hope you enjoyed this discussion as much I did. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Without further ado, please welcome Greg Reid. Hey, Greg, welcome to the Business Leadership Podcast. Thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. It says that readers are leaders. And what's really funny, for those of you who are new to my work, I'm Greg from San Diego. I've been published in 150 books, 45 languages, even have a star on the Walk of Fame, yet I'm dyslexic, can't spell, can't read, and can't write. So don't let those quotes fool you. The bottom line is I learned a very valuable tool is that you work your strengths and you hire your weaknesses. And in business, don't you agree that that is the tip, the technique to get you to the next level?
Yeah, definitely. We're not going to be master of everything, but definitely you need to figure out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and build a team around it. And then. So, what are some of the challenges when people are trying to build those teams, when they're looking for those as they're trying to identify their strength or what the weaknesses are? What are some of those challenges that you see people are struggling with?
Well, a lot of people try to do it all. You hear these solopreneurs all the time. Look, They try to be a one-man band. It's very difficult. And I understand, well, they'll sit there and say, well, I'm brand new. I don't have a lot of capital to get going. And trust me, I do understand that. So here's another version. You work your strengths, you hire your weaknesses, but if you don't have the money, here's the other answer. You work your strengths and you duplicate or you alliance with your weaknesses. I'll give you an example. When I wrote my first best-selling book, again, I'm not very good at it. So I got a ghostwriter who took my gift of gab, I'm a good communicator, and then crafted it in a way that people would want to read it. I'm dyslexic, so my book said car, boat, beaver, it made no sense, right? So they took it and recrafted it. But by cutting them in on the action so that they could get some of the proceeds that came from that project, all of a sudden we had a win-win alliance. And I realized that there's so many opportunities around us that we're not taking any advantage of. You might have a cool logo for a clothing line. Another guy down the street prints t-shirts in his garage for the local, softball team. And another person makes websites. Well, if you three come together and work your strengths, well, what do you know? You have a three-pronged corporation that could be filed and go out and impact the lives of many.
So is that more of a collaboration? You got to look for wherever you can collaborate with other people or connect with, and how do you build that, skill set to do that? Definitely you got to look out for whoever you can collaborate with, connect with, and form this kind of, your team together so there's a win-win for everybody. But how do you develop the skill set?
Well, there's an old saying by Rumi, as a philosopher. He says, whatever you seek is also seeking you in return. So it's having that clarity, that mind focus of what you're looking for. The woo-woo people say this law of attraction, whatever you think about, you would naturally attract. And then the scientific version is RAS, reticular activator system. You all know the cliche, you buy a red car, go out in the freeway, see red cars, because whatever you look is looking for you in return. So for myself, I'm very clear of what it is that I'm looking for. Unfortunately, a lot of people say negative things to their own self-talk, and they attract or they look for more of that. Let me give you an example. Have you ever met somebody that things don't go good and they go, God, why does this always happen to me? Well, the universe is going to answer that question like a computer. This is why, you dummy, because that's what you asked. But if we sit there and say, hey, who's in my contacts right now that I could wheel to that maybe could open a door of opportunity? Well, chances are that contact will suddenly appear as well.
So it's based on what energy you're sending out to the universe. So you're gonna get it back. I think it's gonna multiply. If you keep sending complaining and negative energy out, you're gonna get that back, and it's gonna just multiply and keep you there where you don't want to be.
Yes, and again, that's a little woo-woo, but yes, and the other part is what you put out. So, for example, how many times someone go, God, I need a good salesperson. If I only had a good salesperson on my team, I'd rock. But then they don't go to their social media or their email list and say, hey, everyone, I'm looking for a salesperson. All they're doing is sitting and basking in that stuff. So what I'm saying is the universe rewards momentum and constant forward motion. So put it out there, think it, yes, feel it, but do something, take action, and you'll be shocked at the return that comes your way.
Yeah, so it's activities. The more activities you do, more it kind of comes back. You just got to constantly staying on a task and activities in action instead of just thinking about it and planning about it, right?
Yeah, it's so funny. Bob Proctor and I wrote a book together. It's called Thoughts Are Things. And we thought for sure we're going to think it magically appear, but no, because how many times have we had $1 million idea in the shower, and by the time we brush our teeth, it's down the drain, to see it 10 years on a billboard later going, hey, there's my idea. The only difference between you and that person is one person acted. Today, I saw an ad pop up for something I invented when I was 14 years old, and they went, there's my idea. But the only difference between me and that person is one person.
They took action.
Exactly.
Okay. So talk about your, definitely for our audience, talk about your journey, how you got so good at this. I'm not sure how many, over hundreds of books that you co-authors. I haven't listed all of them, but definitely, a lot of books you co-author. So what your journey's been, Greg, if you would just talk about your journey a little bit.
Well, I'm the least qualified guy to do what I do. So again, I'm into work your strengths and hide your weaknesses. So I keep doing the craziest things because when I was a kid, my mom told me you can do anything you put your mind to it. And I actually believe that hype. And so today, if I think of something, I go do it. In fact, recently, in the last decade or so, I remember I was doing my event called Secret Knock. And I had a gentleman there named Frank Shankwitz who started a nonprofit called Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I asked him, I said, Frank, what was your wish? And he goes, what do you mean? I go, well, you're the founder of Make-A-Wish. What did you wish for? And he goes, no one asked me. I said, well, I want to be the guy that grants your wish. I go, anything you want, I'll give it to you. And he says, I just want my story to be told so my grandkids will know I did something. So he signed over his life rights. And I said, Frank, I'm going to make this into a major film. Just know I've never made a film. And it took 6 years of trials and tribulations. So finally I figured out the trick. And that movie went on to actually make the ballot for the Oscars. We're still trending worldwide right now, called Wish Man. And the moral is that everyone can be a hero. Now, I tell you that story to go backwards to say, I didn't try to figure it out by myself. I finally sat there and followed my own counsel and said, who's getting the results I want? How do I work my strengths and hire my weaknesses? So I started reaching out people that won Oscars and Golden Globes and owned television networks. And I went and met with those people and asked them the secret. And one person did and changed everything. His name is Jules, and he started a program called Showtime Television. And he said, in Hollywood, a yes is a no. A no is a no. A maybe is all you're looking for. And I realized I spent 6 years of my life going to Hollywood and everyone saying, yeah, baby, we're going to make you a star. We're going to get you $14 million. Yeah, we're going to. And that was all no. That's how Hollywood says no. And so finally I went up there once I knew the code and I said, hey, I'm doing this movie. Someone says, yeah, we're going to make you a star. I went, thank you very much. I went to the next person. No, that doesn't work. No problem. Hey, I'm working on this. Someone says, hey, that's kind of a good idea. Let's get a meeting together, go to the network and see if we can make this thing happen. That's all I was looking for. And the second I understood the code, everything changed.
Wow. There can be a lot of people that don't understand the code. It takes some I know, so years and years to understand the code, how this industry operate. And I think every industry has a different codes, the way they operate, I guess, right? So that's typical of Hollywood, but I bet every industry have the similar code, and business leaders who are trying to build the companies, they got to understand the code in their industry to whatever the business they're trying to grow.
Exactly. And your customers, they have something that's called a MICE code, a MIC, military interrogation code. Once you know what it is, then you start attacking that, and you can use it for positive or for negative. And it's interesting. So for example, if you called someone a name, for let's say me, I'll use me, I'm bald, so someone called me bald, and if it offended me, I went, oh, don't call me bald, all they're going to do is poke at me. That's my mice code to bother me, right? Or you could use it positively and say, gosh, I really like the way your head looks without hair. And so either way, you can use that in whatever direction you want. And everything is a system and everything is a code. Same thing in books, same thing in television, same thing in public speaking and doing live events.
So how do you understand this code, Greg? Is it a trial and error kind of approach that you keep trying until you figure out the code, or is it there's some sort of process to learn this code and understand this code?
Well, again, I'm going to go back to my original thing. Surround yourself with people you have respect for, not people you have influence over. Reach out to people who are already accomplishing what you want and then ask them for guidance. For example, I know nothing about art, but if I was going to be an artist, I wouldn't go hang out with other starving artists. That's just pooled starvation. I go outside a gallery and see whose art's being pulled off the wall and ask that person, hey, what'd you do? What's the trick? And people don't understand that simple technique. I think as children, we get in trouble for jumping to the front of the line, but as adults, we get rewarded for it. So I
Yeah.
believe in that cheat code of literally find someone who's doing what you want. And here is how you do it. Successful people seek counsel where failures listen to opinion. Here's the difference. Opinion is based on ignorance, lack of knowledge, or inexperience, like all your family friends who've never done what you want. Counsel is based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. If I went to a family friend of the barbecue and say, I'm going to write best-selling books and become a famous author, they're going to try to talk me out of it to protect me because I'm dyslexic. And guess what? They've never written a best-selling book. But if I sat down with Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, sold 1 billion copies, he says, Greg, here's the secret. Here's what you want to know, and give you counsel based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. If we would spend our activity only seeking counsel and ignoring opinion, that's the day our lives change.
That is so true. So if you're looking for people who already done that before, they'll walk you through definitely, and pave a little bit in a road for you. Hey, listen, this is where you want to go to get to where you want to get to.
Correct.
Wow. And it is hard to find that. There's so many books out there, so many people, especially in a social media, there's so many distractions out there. Everybody's trying to be expert. Then you got to find out who's traveled the road, not just talking.
Well, it's funny you say that. I bought the domain name and I just had trademarked crediblesource.com.
Okay.
And the whole idea is because that's what's missing in today's world. We don't have credible sources. You have all these Instagram. It's so funny. When I started my event called Secret Knock, the reason we did it is I said, no more coaches or teachers or mentors. No. I'm only going to bring in the actual human who did what everyone else is talking about. So at my events, I sit there and say, look, if you want to start a clothing line, here's a gentleman who started UGG Boots, multi-billion-dollar brand. If you got a board game, here's the guy who did Pictionary. You got a nonprofit, here's a Make-A-Wish guy. If you want to be in media, here's the guy who started E-Entertainment. If you surround yourself with the people who are doing what everyone else is talking about, you ask that person for guidance, it cuts your learning curve 10 years.
Yeah, I think that one of the challenge I find, like, is a lot of information. With this generation, it's not that we have a lack of information. I think it's we are flooded with the information. We have to just pick what's right, what's going to take us there, and ignore all the other distractions and all the other shiny stuff on a social media, and just focus. I think focus is one of probably the biggest problem that this generation have.
And a lot of times we'll see stuff and we don't acknowledge it. I'll give you another one. So this book I did was called Wealth Made Easy. By the way, the guy who wrote this for me, his name's Gary Krebs. He's the former publisher of McGraw-Hill Publishing Corporation in New York. Who can write a better book, me or that knucklehead, right? And so this is what I'm talking about. Surround yourselves with authorities. What I did is I went around for 3 years and I interviewed people worth $100 million to $1 billion. And I recorded the interviews and I took the best nuggets. I gave it to my ghostwriter who wrote it and recrafted it in a way people would want to read it. And one of the greatest takeaways from that project was a guy named Mark Bates who taught me a lesson. He said, CPC. And if I can give anyone a golden nugget, this is it. CPC. It's about accountability and responsibility. Everything that happens is your fault. And when we take that accountability, it changes the paradigm. CPC is an acronym. It stands for clues, C, patterns, P, choices, C. It works like this. I'm a single guy. If I go out on a first date, the woman's amazing, but she happens to be 20 minutes late. Now, anything could have happened, but that's my first C. That's the first clue. Now, I like this woman, so I continue to date her. Every single time she shows up 20 minutes late, that forms a P, which is a pattern. Now it's my C, my choice, whether I deal with it, I yell at her, I break up, I tell her a different time, but it's not her fault. She's just late. We have to stop trying to change people to fit into our own little box. No one wants to be changed. But we'll see someone with a bad reputation in business. They cheat your best friend. You do business, things go wrong. You're mad at the person. You saw the clue. You saw the pattern. You made the choice. It's like seeing a rattlesnake rattle, bite your kid's sister. You pet it, get bit, and you're mad at the snake. Looking back in life, rarely will we be angry at relationships that failed or negotiations that fell through. We're mad at ourselves because we saw the clues, we followed the patterns, but we made our choices late.
So to that point, people don't want to be changed, Greg. When you bring that to the corporate world, you hire people all the time. You bring people on site. They all promise they're going to learn the culture. They're going to do, but a lot of people struggle. I see from my colleagues as well that they set in their own ways. They don't want to change the way company works to adopt your culture. And I see that's a struggle on an ongoing basis. So what do you do in that case? Is you simply let those people go and find the people who want to adopt, or you keep training those people on ongoing basis and see if one day they're going to adopt to your culture and they're going to run the way you want to run a business?
Yeah, we all go through these challenges and trials and tribulations, especially in the codependent society in which we live, where we want to help everyone and fix everyone and give them the same opportunities. On the same note, I'm very particular to make sure that the good to great philosophy is always applied, meaning the last salesperson that worked for me, amazing kid, and he was with me for many years. And I realized he was really good at customer retention, but he wasn't great in bringing in new clients. And so I was always angry because he wasn't bringing in new clients because that was his role. But the moment I said, from now on, it's like in a football team, I want you to be a quarterback, but you're a kicker. I go, your job now is to kick the ball. All you got to do is love up our people that are already in our community because they love you so much. And by changing that paradigm, when I saw that and doing it, they felt better. Our customers felt better. The pressure was gone. And all I went and started looking for a quarterback. And so as a leader, I think it's our responsibility to stop trying to change and fix people, but look what they're best suited for if they have the great attitude that fits within our culture and environment and find out what works for them.
So find the appropriate role and maybe assign the role instead of move them around, instead of just dealing with that. Just keep them similar. Very interesting. So
and I do it all the time. By the way, if you came here, everyone's got it. I signed them for one seat, and usually they end up in a different one. And that's the coolest thing because a good leader finds what people work your strengths again. Your weaknesses. So sometimes we can bring people on that we hire them as an accounting person, but find out that they're maybe really good at customer relations, and that would be a better suited role.
Very interesting. It says so much wealth of knowledge and a wisdom in you. We can talk for a long time. I respect your time. So where are you spending your time and energy these days, Greg? What's important to you? Where you spend your time and energy?
Well, this coming year for 2024, we normally only do one event a year, and we got 6 coming up. So that's the attention and energy. I decided for myself that I was going to just multiply the industry because we built the foundation over the past few years. People talk about it, but we actually did it. We created a CRM system, a customer retention system. We got everything dialed in. So our infrastructure is so strong that now we can start building up. And so what we're going to be doing this next calendar year is doing exactly that. So I'm fired up to see how it goes.
So 6 events in a 2024, or it goes up to 2025 as well? How many?
Yeah, just for 2024, we're doing 6 of them, and 2025, hopefully I can do, a dozen. And what's really nice, so in January, we're doing something called Prosperity Camp, and that's already sold out. And the idea of that one is we focus on something called the opportunity chair. See, a lot of these people out there in their personal development, they have these mastermind groups, and basically they charge you a lot of money to sit around their living room in a little semicircle and sell you stuff. That's not what a mastermind group is. So I went back to the Roberts rules of running business, and I decided to create that for my mastermind group. So Prosperity Camp, basically imagine we bring in the guy who invented the Thigh Master and the Mood Ring. This guy's name is Josh Reynolds, and he comes in. He's one of our speakers. We have the founder of E! Entertainment. We have the guy who produced the movies True Lies, Mortal Kombat, the Lego movies. We bring all these amazing people, and they do a presentation. Then afterwards, an opportunity chair. That means you get to sit in this chair and say, my name is so-and-so. This is my business. I've been doing this. What else should I do? And then imagine 70 other people asking clarifying questions. Have you done this? Have you tried this? Have you done this? And then after that's answered, the entire room goes by and offers suggestion and feedback based on the information of what you should do next. And we have a scribe who writes it on a big old board and plasters it all around the wall. So even as you're eavesdropping, and maybe you're not in the chair, you're learning and getting all these ideas from different people. So that's January. March, we're doing Secret Knock, which is basically a carnival on steroids. It's just amazing. 17, 18 years in a row, just phenomenal. And then we're going to be doing one in Vegas. We're doing a Secret Knock Women, and we're working one in New York at the United Nations right now.
Wow. So how big are these events, and who's this events for? Like, who should be, is there a business owner or somebody just starting a business, or it could be for mature businesses? Who this events for, Greg?
The people that excel the most are either brand spanking new and know nothing because they're open-minded, so we could fill them full of good content before anyone pollutes them, or somebody who has maybe a pizza parlor, but they want to open up 3 more and they're ready for that next level. That's usually right where we're at. That's our wheelhouse. And again, we're the weirdest event. As crazy as it is, we're known as the greatest event by Forbes magazine that you cannot attend. You have to know someone, you have to be invited, or you have to go to the website, fill out an application, someone calls you to make sure you're a good fit, because we're one of those weird companies. Our whole idea is that we want to make sure we can add value back. So for example, if you're an upstart or you're going through something that we can't add value to, I don't want to sell you a ticket. I don't want to take your money. I want to make sure we surround ourselves with people that really can catapult, and vice versa. So that's what we do. And it's so funny. So here's the way it works. It costs $5,000 to go to my event, and I will not tell you where it is or who will be there.
Okay.
Nothing. I'll just tell you the city, state, and date. And then right before I drip the secret location. And by doing that, we've had private Skype with Edward Snowden while he's hiding in Russia. We've had President Vicente Fox come in, tell us how George Bush tried to trick him to go to war. Carol Baskin from the Tiger King came last time. We got the most controversial person on the planet Earth coming in this next one. And it's really interesting because we give a voice to the people that is usually filtered by, mass media, where you can hear it right from the source of exactly what's happening.
I see. So is it a one-day event? How long is the event? Or do people join it, on a Zoom as well, or remotely, or is it all in-person events, Greg?
Yeah, it's just in person, and it's they're all multi-day events. Again, just go to secretknock.co, check it out. But the main thing is this: our whole concept for ourselves is literally giving you that direct access, because just like people help open the velvet rope. You ever go to a nightclub and there's a bouncer and a velvet rope and people standing in line? Well, imagine if you could go to the front of the line and your name was on that thing and you went right in and had a VIP ticket. Well, that's what our events are all about. So no one's treated differently. Everyone's the same that comes. In fact, no business cards are allowed. No name tags are allowed. You just be treated like a freaking human being. And so while you're sitting there, you don't know who's sitting around you until I sit there and say, all right, you have ever heard of Lamborghini? Well, guess what? Tonino Lamborghini, come on up. And he's sitting right next to you. You don't know.
Wow.
And so the whole idea is that we surround ourselves with the people who are doing what everyone else is just talking about. All right, enough about that. I want to end with this last little neg, because I know we're wrapping up.
Yep.
People always ask me what my favorite interview is. And, it's like picking your favorite child. But I'm compelled to tell you this quick little story. I met a guy named Steve Wozniak. He started Apple Computer with Jobs.
Yep.
And I asked him, I said, how is it that you and Jobs had so much success? And he said, we embraced our lack. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, we embraced what we didn't have. We didn't run from it. I said, give me an example. He said, well, when these little microchip processor things came out, they were so expensive, we could only afford one. He goes, Jobs sold his car. I sold my calculator. We pulled our money to buy one. He goes, but Hewlett Packard, IBM had all the money of God. So they'd make machines that go from point A to point B with 20 of these chips. And it says, so I'd pull away 5 and go from A to B with 15. I'd pull away 5, get it to work. Eventually, I found a way to go from A to B using our one chip. He goes, we were not trying to be innovative or aerodynamic or cool. He goes, we could afford one freaking chip. He goes, but by embracing that as an opportunity, we found the shortest, cleanest path. And by doing that, we changed the way people do personal computing for the rest of the world, for the rest of their life. He goes, where could you be right now in your own chosen field if you stop looking at everything as your greatest challenge and obstacle, but it could just be your greatest blessing and opportunity in disguise?
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, and that's how they roll the world. That's how they build that the Apple computer that we all live and breathe every day. Beautiful. Hey, I want to acknowledge your time. Thank you so much for your time, Greg. It was a pleasure talking to you. I learned so much from you. What link can I include below the video for people to get some more information about you, learn about you, or get a copy of your books? What information I can include below the video so they can learn more about you?
Yeah, just go to Instagram, I guess. I don't know. You'll find me. I'm out. But the main thing is this. Look, seek counsel, everyone. If you're watching this right now, stop asking your family, friends around the family barbecue what you should do in your life and business. Surround yourself with people that are getting the results that you want. Ask those people. When I want to be a best-selling author, I went to Barnes & Noble. I bought every best-selling book. I called those people up and said, how do you do it? Learn their technique, their system, duplicated it. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, someone else is already excelling. Locate them, ask them for guidance, and you can do it too. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for your time. That's my bigger takeaway. I'm going to look for a console. I was thinking about it, but I think you just assured me that, listen, this is, as I'm building my company, I'm always looking for how do I get there faster? How do I save some time? How do I get there much faster? And I think console is a key. You just given me that I'm going to use that and look for console and save a lot of time going through it. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Have a good one. Thank you.